2, and go.
Okay, what's up, you guys? It's your favorite sports chica, Carolina Teague, and this is another episode of League of Our Own. Welcome back, you guys. It is another Manic Monday, and I'm here at VodPod Media Studios with my guy, radio husband and producer, Gylan Jackson, making sure everything is running smoother than olive oil on a baby's behind. Wasn't here last week, but we're here this week, and we got lots of things to talk about today. Starting a little bit later than normal, but we got a couple surprises that we have coming up, and I'm really excited about them. Today, we're going to be talking about a whole lot of fun stuff. We're going to be talking about, is it Dak's fault that the Cowboys lost to the Philadelphia Eagles this past weekend? CJ Stroud from the Houston Texans had a monstrous game. And who has the more upside and who could win a Super Bowl first? If you guys had to pick, do you think Dak's going to win a Super Bowl first? Or do you think CJ Stroud is going to win a Super Bowl first? And is Wemby the new face of the NBA? Move over LeBron, or is it LeBron James? We'd definitely like to get all your guys' thoughts. And of course, the finishing move, WWE news, Gunther, the Intercontinental Champion, cannot leave the U.S. for 6 months. And a story about true crime for the sucker punch in boxing. Puerto Rican boxing superstar Felix Verdejo was sentenced about a month ago for killing his mistress just to protect his image. Why are people that stupid, and would you kill for love? We'd like to thank everybody watching all across of our platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all that great stuff. And I'm excited to, get started talking about all the topics. Gylan, how's everything been for you?
Life is good.
Good. And also, too, we got a surprise for you guys. Our intern, Jaden, for the first time, is going to make his premiere next week on League of Our Own. And we're really excited about having Jaden. No, he will be on. We've been talking about this for a couple weeks now. So this has been in the works. So we're finally going to have Jaden on. Jaden plays basketball. And he's here all the damn time. So why not get his thoughts on, every now and then on League of Our Own podcast. So we're excited about that. Also, too, a little bit of life update for me. I went to the UT game, or University of Texas game versus Kansas State, and UT won. It was a great game. I wasn't expecting that ending to go the way it went. I thought UT was going to lose, but Kansas State ended up taking the win. I don't remember much of the game, but I had a great time. And I have some wrestling gigs coming up. But other than that, I've just been, chilling at home, doing nothing. What have you been up to, Gylan?
Wait, so you've been chilling at home doing nothing?
Oh, I've been doing stuff.
So you could set more topics for the show then.
Like 100 topics?
Yeah.
Well, actually.
So now she's doing something.
No, I haven't been feeling well because Cam has been getting my perfume bottles and spraying the whole bottle inside the house, and it's been making me really sick.
That's not good.
Yeah, it's not good at all. It's been really ruining my life. But anyways, so did you see the Dallas Cowboys versus Philadelphia Eagles game yesterday?
I saw some of it. Yeah, I caught bits and pieces.
It was a really good game, divisional game, of course, and I've had this conversation with people who's the divisional rivalry for the Cowboys, and people have given me their opinions that they think the Washington Commanders are their immortal villains for the Cowboys. But lately a lot of Cowboys fans have been telling me that the Eagles now have taken the crown for their mortal enemy for the NFC East. So this game, of course, for me, watching it was important because this is my favorite divisional matchup for the NFC East. And people were arguing on social media, and they argue all the time in person about who the better team is, the Cowboys or the Eagles. And it's very clear that the Eagles are currently the best team in the NFC East. They're 8-1, and the Cowboys are 5-3. They fell short to the Eagles 28-23. But what I want to know from you guys is, whose fault is it that the game was lost? Is it Dak's fault? Because a lot of people are blaming Dak Prescott. And it's interesting that people say that, because they're saying, hey, there was a lot of crucial mistakes within the last 5 minutes of the game. And you could attest those crucial final mistakes to Dak Prescott. But me personally, I don't blame Dak Prescott for this loss. I actually think he played a really good game. He threw for 374 yards, about 100 yards more than Jalen Hurts. And he also played well with the passing game. The Cowboys really had to rely on their passing game. He was throwing a lot to CD Lamb. And he, in my opinion, played really well despite all the shortcomings he had. Dak has a lot of issues from the right offensive side of the field. And he did a really good job reading from the line of scrimmage during the game. But because he made those final mistakes in the last couple minutes, are you going to blame him for that? I mean, he took responsibility, but I wouldn't necessarily blame him. I would blame the defense for giving up 14 points in the third quarter because the Cowboys were ahead. So if I had to give fault to anybody, it would be the Dallas Cowboys defense. That's who I would blame more than anything. I don't blame Dak for this loss. I don't think it's on him. And I think he gets a lot of unfair criticism for how he plays. And maybe he had a little bit of miscommunications throughout those last couple of minutes. But to blame him for the reason why the team lost, it just doesn't make sense. If you watch the game in its entirety, you would know that the defense is really the culprit here as to why they couldn't come out with the win.
I think I would agree. The one thing I would like to say, though, and you know how I feel about Cowboys fans, right, is that maybe it's nobody to blame. I'm not a fan of stats and blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to stat you to death. But today, 29 of 44 means he had 15 incompletions. He threw for 374 yards and 3 TDs. What more do you want from the man? Like, really, what more do you want more for him? And I used to be a Dak Prescott fan. I'm not a huge fan of Dak Prescott. Hurts, man. That boy. You know, so I don't know. I don't know what Cowboy fans are thinking. I don't know what Cowboy fans want. But you really got to look, one, in the mirror for being a Cowboys fan, and two, at Jerry Jones, because it all comes down to Jerry Jones. And if you're not blaming Jerry Jones for the mediocrity of the past however many years, then you really don't know football.
And that's the thing. Like, for me, it's just Jerry Jones. I mean, we could blame the whole organization as a totality, because that's what I do when I get on my high horse about my team. But Robert Jameson agrees with you. He says, blame Jerry. He thinks he's greater than anyone. No Jimmy in the ring shoes. He doesn't care about winning. I don't think that Jerry Jones doesn't care about winning. I think that Jerry Jones cares about money. But I think he does care.
Right.
Yeah, I think he cares. But I also think he cares about winning. I think Jerry would love to get another ring. I don't think that he doesn't strike me as an owner who doesn't care about winning. I just think you're right. He thinks he wants to be right, but that's neither here nor there. I think Dak did a really good job of taking accountability for the loss, even though it really wasn't his fault. I mean, a team is a team sport, but for people to blame Dak for his last-minute mistakes is really short-sighted. Because a quarterback can have a really good game, which he did. Like I said, he had to rely on the passing game. Didn't really rely on the run game throughout the entire game. So that to me showed he knew that the Eagles secondary is pretty weak, and he knew he had to rely on the passing game, was able to make those adjustments. But for me, it also showed that he knows how to make those adjustments. He's really showed in the past few weeks that he is a good quarterback. It's just a matter of, can the rest of the team hold up their end of the bargain? And the answer is no. So I don't think that Dak is this horrible quarterback, and I don't think that it's Dak's fault. So essentially, when people are solely blaming Dak, which when a team loses, you want to blame the quarterback. But if you really watch football, you know when a quarterback has a bad game. And this just wasn't one of those games. So I think blaming Dak is idiotic.
Yeah, I think it's lazy at best. Romo had good numbers, but what else did Romo do? Dak has decent numbers, but what is Romo? What is Dak doing? At some point, you got to ask yourself, why are you still rooting for this team? And I guess if that's what you do, that's what you do.
Well, if there are Cowboys fans here, then they need to tell us why they still root for the team, because I have a crappy team that I root for, and it boils down to loyalty. So that's my reasoning for cheering for a crappy team.
Well,
so I mean, maybe that's Cowboys fans' reasoning too.
At least y'all have like been bad though.
Like, we own the badness.
Yeah, you own the badness. Like, I can get that. Like, if your partner's just crappy, your partner's just crappy, and you're okay with that. But if you think your partner's going to get better, yeah, no, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
But who is getting better is the Texans.
Yo, let's also talk about CJ Stroud, which I'm glad
Dude
this is
a beast.
What he did this past game. I don't know if you saw that final drive, but CJ Stroud just basically showed everybody that he can be in prime time too. I'm not talking about Coach Prime. I'm not saying it's comparable, but what I'm saying is that was some prime time bullshit that he did. This was a record breaking win for a rookie. He threw for incredible. He threw for 470 yards, and they beat the Buccaneers 39-37. And I just thought he played incredible and had a game-winning drive with 46 seconds left. Now, I'm just going to save that for a second. Like, think about that for a second. Game-winning drive with 47 seconds or 46 seconds left. That's crazy. And he doesn't have the best team around him, too. So and also, I don't know if anybody saw the Texans game, but I can't even pronounce his name. But the Texans running back, Dare Ogunbowale, I can't say his name. I botched it. But Houston Texans kicker is out. Fairbairn. He suffered a quad injury in the first half. So they had to replace him. And head coach D'Amico Ryans was like, yo, we need to replace him to do the 2-point conversions, or if we try to score a touchdown, or if we need a kick. The Texans were stopped on 3rd and goal, and that's when they called on their running back to step in and make a field goal. That motherfucker smashed that fucking field goal. And the whole team on the sideline, if you're watching the Texans game, I don't know if you guys saw it, but everybody was going crazy like, holy shit, I can't believe he actually made that field goal. This dude's a running back taking the place of a kicker. Now, granted, he played other sports back in the day, but I thought not only did CJ Stroud had a game-winning drive, but that kick that their running back had, that was incredible. So the Houston Texans deserved to win that game. I was really excited about that.
Yeah, I thought it was legit. I thought it was a legit win. Again, I'm not a stats dude. I don't know why I'm pulling up stats this week, but 30 for 42, 470 yards, 5 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. It was, the team is showing heart. They're showing effort. And I'm not saying Dallas doesn't, but I wonder sometimes if we're worried about Dallas being that player or that team all the time, America's team. And I really believe in my heart of hearts, the whole America's team mantra is done. It's over with. The Cowboys are not America's team. Period. End of story. Now, I'm not saying Houston is.
I disagree.
I'm not saying the Eagles are. Mm-hmm. Wait, what? You go ahead. I'm curious.
I think Cowboys are still America's team.
How?
Because they draw eyeballs. When you're looking at it from a marketing perspective, they're still America's team.
Oh.
For sure. So but I get from a record.
Mediocre.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, yeah, listen, we're mediocre in healthcare. We're mediocre in education. So why not root for a mediocre team? Okay.
You.
That makes sense.
I can't even argue with you on that there, homie. I really can't.
It's one thing to have the mantra or the moniker of America's team, but then there's another thing to truly be America's team.
Yeah.
And I just don't see the Cowboys being America's team in any way, stretch, or form.
So that brings us to our next topic.
Wait, what is this? Blasphemy? What is that topic? What did it say?
I don't have nothing to, oh, blasphemy. Cowboys are America's team. That's what I'm saying. Like, Guyland just likes to ruffle some feathers.
No, I'm just
Cowboys
speaking
are
the truth.
America's team. Cowboys are America's team.
Based on
because,
what?
Just because you don't like the Cowboys. Just because.
Mediocrity. Based on mediocrity.
No, because of numbers, marketing.
What numbers?
How much money they can pull in. Everybody
that don't mean
watches.
you're America's team.
Bro, everybody watches the Cowboys. Thanksgiving. Everybody's going to watch the Cowboys.
That doesn't
That's
make
just
you
what we
America's
do.
team.
They
That
bring
means
eyeballs to
they're your marketing.
when you turn on ESPN, what are they talking about? The Cowboys, even if they're mediocre. That's what they talk about. The Cowboys.
Actually, ESPN talks about a lot of stuff besides the Cowboys.
They do, but you guarantee on a Monday morning, regardless of any other teams they're going to rotate out to talk about, Cowboys are going to be a topic. Every Monday after a football week, they're going to talk about the Cowboys.
Yeah,
they might
how miserable the fans are.
They might talk about the Jags one week and the Dolphins one week and the Bears one week and the Jets one week, but the Cowboys will get talked about every week because people will pay attention, whether you love them or you hate them.
Well, until they start losing again.
But
and become even more mediocre. But they're not. That doesn't make them America's team. That makes them America's marketing machine, America's propaganda machine. But that's not America's team. They've never been America's team in my book, like real world. Sorry.
We need to have a deep dive on that soon. But right now, I want to talk about Dak and CJ Stroud because remember I told you guys earlier to remember the stat, game-winning drive with 46 seconds left. Now, if you compare the Texans game yesterday against the Buccaneers as opposed to the Cowboys game against Philadelphia Eagles when the game was short, close for both of them, you didn't see a game-winning drive with 46 seconds left with Dak Prescott. So my question to you all is, who do you all think will win a Super Bowl first? Would it be CJ Stroud or would it be Dak Prescott, and why? So, Guyland, what's your response to that?
That's a tough one. However, because of my disdain for the Cowboys fans more than the Cowboys themselves and Jerry Jones, I'm going to have to go with CJ Stroud is playing and the upside and the fun that the Texans are playing with. I'm going to have to go with CJ Stroud.
Okay. So as much as CJ Stroud had an incredible game, realistically, I don't think CJ Stroud would win a Super Bowl with this team before Dak Prescott would win a Super Bowl with his Cowboys. And the reason why I say that is because the AFC is a much tougher division or much tougher conference than the NFC. That means that the Texans got to get past the Chiefs. The Texans got to get past the Dolphins. The Texans got to get past even the Jags. And there's multiple teams. And did I say the Ravens? The Ravens too. There's all these teams in the AFC that I think have far superior quarterbacks. And I think those teams are way more difficult than it would be for Dak and his team with the Cowboys to defeat teams in the NFC. The Cowboys lost against the Eagles. That'd be a tough team to get by. But the rest of the division has the same record, if not similar, with the exception of the Lions. Lions are 6-2. They have a mediocre win and loss. Like, they're 5-3. But the rest of the NFC is mediocre as well. Everybody with the exception of the Eagles and the Lions have an equal or lesser record than the Cowboys do. So when you're looking at from a strategical standpoint, from the NFC to the AFC, then I would say the Cowboys have a more of an upside because the AFC is a much tougher conference than the NFC conference is. So if I had to roll with somebody, I would roll with Dak because Dak has proven he could go up against other teams in the NFC, and CJ Stroud had one
games since Dak won?
Well,
than CJ Stroud.
Well, the thing is, but the thing is,
Okay.
hold on, wait. My thing is, can CJ Stroud take the Texans to the playoffs? Dak's rookie year, he went to the playoffs. Now, granted, he had a great O-line, but
Was it his
CJ Stroud
rookie year, or was it
his first year
he started?
The first year he started. I'm sorry.
Okay,
The
so
first,
he was not a rookie. He had been sitting around behind.
but CJ Stroud is the starter right now.
But he's a younger than Dak, started younger than Dak, and is comparatively, in my opinion, has a better shot of winning a Super Bowl with Dak in the next 5 years than Dak in the next 5 years.
I think the Texans have a long way to go as a team to be able to come out with a Super Bowl before the Cowboys do, even though the Cowboys are mediocre, like you said, and they live in mediocrity. But the Texans have shown us in the past couple of years that they're below mediocrity. But CJ Stroud had a great game. Yeah, but
of course they have.
But CJ Stroud had an incredible game last night. I'm not going to take away from that, but the games before that, they weren't these record-breaking games, but he had an incredible game. As far as like if he were to get traded to a different team, then yeah, like he would get a Super Bowl before Dak Prescott for sure. Or maybe even if Dak had a better O-line or a better coach, like we could put all these variables in there. But with the exact teams right now, because the AFC is a tougher conference than the NFC, I would give Dak the upside to win a Super Bowl, especially since whether he lost or not in the playoffs, he has more experience as of right now.
The upside, but is he going to?
That's the thing. If you ask me, none of them ain't gonna win no damn Super Bowl. But if I had to pick between the teams right now, Dak would win the Super Bowl before CJ Stroud would.
Nah. All right, check this out. So for those in the world who think Dallas is America's team, last year of the top 50 most watched TV broadcasts of 2022, the Bengals, LA Rams, Kansas City Chiefs, all were higher on the list than the Dallas Cowboys. So
say that. Can you say that? Can you say that again?
Okay, so Dallas Cow. Okay. Number one ranking was the Super Bowl last year, right? Rams versus Bengals. Number two was San Francisco versus Rams. Number three was Bengals versus Kansas City. Number four was the Bills versus Kansas City, and then Dallas comes in at 5 and 6, with New York versus Cowboys and San Francisco versus Cowboys. So if you really look at it, Dallas is like number 4 on the list if you're looking at TV ratings and who actually is watching. And then as you go down further, the Bengals, the Rams again, and then you get to the Cowboys at number 13.
So it's Rams is dominating, Bengals, Chiefs, and who else?
That's it.
Okay. So
and then the Cowboys.
So 2 of those teams are in the NFC and 2 of those teams are in the AFC.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe,
however, 13, 15, 17, 18, 19 is Dallas. That's mediocrity. Yeah.
I agree that they're a mediocre team. I mean, the numbers are there, and also
America's mediocre team.
And okay, Joel says he can barely hear you, but I'm loud and clear. I would just say that for me, that's a first. If I had to pick between CJ Stroud and Dak Prescott, because of experience, I'm a roll with Dak. Now, I want to have this conversation next week when Jaden, our intern, brings his premiere on. We can have the conversation. Are the Cowboys really America's team still? I would love to have that conversation. So let's talk about it.
Are the Cowboys still America's team? Yeah. He's saying, yeah. Are you a Cowboys fan? No. Okay. Who's your team? Ooh, I'm sorry. The Steelers are his team.
Okay. So let's.
Now, speaking. Go ahead.
Speaking of. What were you saying? Speaking of what?
Well, speaking of like America's team and greatness and everything else, LeBron, Wemby, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry. Like, is it time for Wemby to be the face of the NBA? Is it time for everybody to pass the torch to Wemby?
Now, this is a great topic because LeBron has been the face of the NBA for so long. And every time I turn on my TV, I see Victor Wembanyama on my TV screen. And I've never seen a player, just by watching sports, the last generational talent we had was LeBron James, who had this big hype machine around him. Victor Wembanyama is that next player. I haven't seen anything like that. And he has the credentials to back him up. He has deals that are comparable to LeBron James in his rookie year. He already has deals with Nike, Fanatics, 2K, Barcode. And just by announcing that Wemby is on the team, the Spurs ticket sales, they went up 3,000%. He's living up to the hype when it comes to stats. He's breaking numerous records, already 6 games in. And people are already having conversations in the streets on whether he should be Rookie of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year. And he just started this week. So LeBron, in his first 3 preseason games, he averaged 8 points. And he had struggles in his first couple of games. But when you talk about the impact of an NBA player, I think everybody just needs to move out the way and just come to the terms and realization that the new face of the NBA is Wemby. You might not realize it now, but in a couple months, in about a year or so, everybody's going to realize Wemby took LeBron's spot as the face of the NBA. So I truly believe Wemby has taken that spot. And it's only a matter of time till everybody jumps on that page and realizes that as well. But Wemby has the it factor that generational talent needs. And it comes across every decade or so. You had Michael Jordan. Then the torch was passed to Kobe. Then the torch was passed to LeBron. Now the torch is passed to Wemby. And the more people just realize that, the easier everybody's life will be.
Interesting. I'm just going to say one thing to Spurs fans, because as we go on, if somebody's a big fundamental to know he is Wemby, we have 2 40-point losses, though. Got to get that right first, of course. But this team is young. I don't know what everybody's expecting from the San Antonio Spurs. The team is young. They're going to lose games that we feel that they should be winning. Greatness doesn't have overnight. Some of these guys are barely kids, Wemby being one of them. So I think we need to pump the brakes as fans of the San Antonio Spurs and realize that this is going to take time and not try to. I see so many like yahoos just on here like, oh, Wemby, blah, blah. And it's like they're doing it simply for clicks rather than caring truly. And it's the sports commentators that I know that are doing it. And I'm a little disgusted by it.
Like they're expecting them to be great already?
Yeah, it's like, oh, well, Pop needs to do this and Pop needs to do that. It's like everything's a fucking knee-jerk reaction. Like, calm down.
Well, I think what it is that a lot of casuals who have been watching the Spurs just are really excited about Wemby, and they want that instant gratification. They want those instant wins, or they're probably just tired of all the losses and want everybody to just throw a lob to Wemby and have him score the entire night. But that's not how Coach Greg Popovich works, number one. And number two, like you said, and you're spot on, it's going to take time for this team to grow and develop as a young team, and everybody does need to pump the brakes, like you said. It's not going to happen overnight. And these 40-point losses, like against the Pacers, people are already tweeting me on Twitter, Rockets fans, 152 to 111. We already know the Pacers are good, bro. We already know Obi Toppin is good. Tyrese Halliburton, they dominated last year. Buddy Hield. All these players are good. The Spurs too. The Spurs are good too, but they don't have that gel together like they're young. The Pacers, they was good last year. If you watch the games against the Spurs, they was good. So the Pacers, these dominating games are gonna happen, but
hell, the Spurs have dominated.
Yeah, they dominated the Phoenix Suns game 2 with Devin Booker there. So they've had their moments of they've had their moments of greatness, but they're not going to win every damn game. It's just not going to work like that. Now, I will tell you that even though they lost 41 points to the Pacers, they still going to have a better record than the Rockets. So all the Rockets fans that are like tweeting me right now, like, what are you worried about the Spurs for? Seriously. They're going to have a better the Spurs are currently number 8 in the league right now. Rockets are number 12. I think the Rockets have bigger fish to fry at the moment.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do. So it just is what it is. So how do you feel about Wemby overall? Do you think that and we were arguing about passing the torch and what that means. But do you think that Victor Wembanyama passed the torch? Or LeBron passed the torch to Victor Wembanyama?
No. And so it's a proverbial torch, right? It's not a real torch. It's not like he calls up Wemby on the phone. He's like, yo, dog, what's up, man? Hey, I'm going to pass the torch to you. No, it's not that, right? It's a proverbial torch. It's one of those things that they do have a conversation, and LeBron puts his arm around him. It's like, damn, man, the league's in a good place right now, right? Keep on doing what you're saying. It's not LeBron saying, hey, dude, now it's your turn. But it may be a your turn thing, right? But we don't even hear that conversation until 5-6 years later that LeBron talks about. Somebody has a question. Is there a target on Wemby's back? I think so. I think somebody's ready to posterize Wemby. And they're going to be it's going to be sad. I think it's going to be maybe a Joel Embiid or somebody like that might be able to posterize him. Maybe a LeBron coming down the lane. And our team circling SA on their calendars. Pros will tell you they don't circle teams. However, I think that there's a possibility that they do look forward to paying because everybody wants to see what they look like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and this is another thing, too. You said, what was the question that somebody had is
there a target on Wemby's back and our team circling SA on their calendars?
Definitely, because earlier in the season during Summer League, I was at the press conference and Victor Wembanyama said, because I think it was Rachel Nichols who asked him, who do you feel like, what's the difference between the French League and now? And he said, it seems like it's a lot more, I think he said a lot more physicality in the French League than the NBA is what he's noticing, but he hadn't played a game in the NBA yet. And I might have botched his words, but that's amongst the line of what he said. And everybody was dragging him through the mud saying that the French League is way more physical than the NBA. So NBA players who heard Wemby's comment about the French League being more physical than the NBA, they're going to try to get one up on him because they have a point to prove because of the things he said during Summer League.
But ain't nobody done nothing.
But, yeah, you're right. And they haven't done it yet. But
6 games in.
Wemby said, I think like 2 games ago after they beat the Suns, somebody asked him like, do you expect to be posterized? And he said, that's going to happen to me. It's just a matter of time. Like, it is going to happen. He's expecting
all the greats have been posterized, period.
Exactly. So it's
nothing new.
It's going to happen to him. But, do I think there's a target on his back? Absolutely. Because last year when Wemby wasn't on the team, all the good players would sit out during the Spurs games to have load management. And now all the good players are playing against the Spurs to see how they square up against Wemby. So, yeah, they are circling the Spurs when they're about to play them. And they didn't do that last year. They're doing that now because Wemby's on the team. So they want to see how they square up against him. Yeah.
Did you watch somebody has just a throw out there, Josh Dobbs?
No.
So Josh Dobbs was traded to the Vikings.
Oh, snap.
I want to say he's been on 6 teams as a quarterback in the past 2 years, from starting jobs to everything else. And he actually brought the Vikings back to win that game.
Oh, wow.
And so watch the locker room on that. It was huge.
Oh,
I think Josh Dobbs hopefully has found a spot. But if he's played well everywhere he's gone, he's just not a great fit. And I think that this might have solidified him as kind of like one of those players who's going to have a possible long journeyman career.
Yeah, I hope he sticks with them because, I mean, I'm just looking at a small clip, and I guess he finally feels appreciated with the Vikings. So if that's how he feels, then I hope that ends up well for him.
No, he is appreciated. He is appreciated.
Yeah.
All right. So what you got for the sucker punch segment?
Okay, guys, I wanted to ask you guys a question. It's a little controversial, and this might be graphic for you guys. So if you guys are very sensitive to certain topics, especially when it comes to violence, I would advise you guys to turn off get off League of Our Own now, because we're going to talk about some sensitive topics. But this is our segment for boxing. It's called the Sucker Punch, and there's a boxer, and I actually just came across my YouTube page. We're going to take a different term. It's not breaking news. He actually just got sentenced about a couple months ago. But an up-and-coming boxer in Puerto Rico, Felix Verdejo, was sentenced to life in prison for killing his pregnant lover. Now, what happened was Felix Verdejo was a boxer who played in the 2012 Olympics. He was an up-and-coming Puerto Rican boxer. He was revered across all of Puerto Rico for being the next big thing. And he was married to a woman, and he had a child with her. He was a young guy in his 20s, and he got his mistress pregnant. And he got his mistress pregnant, and he asked her to kill the baby. She said no. She wanted to keep the baby. So rather than take up with his responsibility, he decided to bring her along for a car ride, punch her in her face because he's a boxer. She immediately knocked out, injected her with some type of drug, tied her up with a cement block, threw her over a bridge into some water, and shot her so to make sure that she was dead, because he did not want to have the baby with her. And this dude is an idiot. You gave up.
Is this alleged?
No, he got convicted and sentenced to life in prison. He admitted to the crime because he had an accomplice with him, and his accomplice made a confession, and they gathered the evidence, and he was convicted of this crime. And the reasoning for him doing this is because he didn't want to ruin his chances of being a boxer. It would ruin his image of being the next big up-and-coming star in Puerto Rico. So what do you think would ruin your image more? Having a baby with your side chick or killing your side chick, dumbass? So the reason why I watched this was because it popped up on my true crime feed. It's been all over the Spanish news. This is huge news in Puerto Rico. And I'm barely finding out about this because they finally did a translated video, and I don't speak fluent Spanish. And he just got convicted recently as of, 2 days ago. He just got convicted like 2 days ago. Life in prison. So I want to ask you guys, and somebody said we've seen this before with Ray Caruth. Yeah, people do that. I was going to say to you guys, would you kill for love if it meant protecting your image? Guylan, what are your thoughts?
You keep on saying, would you kill for love? That's not love. So would you kill because you're a selfish bastard and you stupid? Mm-hmm. No. Now, have I thought about it? Maybe. But no, I would not kill to save, not if I have that much money.
Right.
If I'm, who cares?
Now,
who cares?
Now, like Ray Caruth did this back in the day with his ex-girlfriend Sharika, and he was a football player for the Carolina Panthers, I believe. And he is a football player, and they are known to have CTE, and boxers are also known to have CTE. Do you think that in cases like this, that fighters and football players can use the defense of CTE as the reason why they murdered these people?
Sure.
Yeah.
But not until you slice their head off and open their brain do you know if they had CTE. Right.
So it'd be hard to prove that they had CTE.
Huh?
It would be hard to prove that somebody.
You can't prove that they have CTE.
So you don't think it's a good defense then?
No, it's a horrible defense.
Yeah. And rest in peace to the person who died. But I encourage you guys if you guys are in a domestic violence relation, there's domestic violence hotline. But don't do no stupid shit like this. I mean, this dude threw his life away because he wanted to protect his image in boxing. Isn't that some crazy shit? Like,
I
what
think
would...
the fact we're talking about this shit is kind of...
Okay, Robert says he would kill for love, but I'm not Eminem, and let me get paid and take care of my baby. So, okay, so let's just say...
Everybody... Amazon says everyone on the live show is about to implement themselves.
Implicate themselves, exactly. So I'm wondering, okay, let's just say you all are married men, right? First of all, you shouldn't be cheating. But in the event that you did cheat and you got your mistress pregnant, what would make somebody want to kill rather than just having the baby? Like, what
Are you really trying to understand this?
I really want to know. Yeah,
Why do you want to get in the mind of somebody who's psycho?
So they're just a psychopath.
That's not even psycho. It's selfish. It's sorry. It's bad human. It's their mother should have swallowed them. Like, it's horrid.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really sad, and I feel bad for the victim. I just feel like I'm glad he got life in prison. They were going to give him the death penalty, but her family wanted to do life in prison. I'm just glad he is where he is. But I just think, God damn, like, how stupid can you be?
Well, I'm glad they didn't kill him.
Oh, no, I'm glad they didn't kill him too, but, like, how stupid can you be? Like, you're dumbass. And if you are an up-and-coming boxer and you got some bread, why don't you just hire somebody to do it for you? Why you got to do it yourself?
Why now? You just implemented yourself, like Amzai said.
Oh, somebody said this sounds like the OJ story. Yeah. Like, why do people do stupid shit?
People stupid.
People are just stupid. Like, don't kill anybody. Keep your damn hands to yourself. That's all I'm saying.
The moral to the story is kind of easy. Don't kill nobody.
Don't kill nobody. Like, you're going to get caught. Like, I want to know, like, I know this is taking a turn, but this is about sports, so I'm still on track. Do any of these people who are athletes or whoever, do y'all not realize that we're in a society now where everything can be tracked? Everything could be found out. There's a paper trail for everything, and more than likely, your dumbass is going to get caught. So why the hell do you think it's okay? And why do people think they're going to get away with murder? It's so stupid. It's so stupid. I just want to say it popped up on my damn feed. It was all over the Puerto Rican news. This is my Spanish people doing crazy shit, so I had to talk about it.
Your people.
My Spanish people doing crazy shit.
Your people. Aaron Hernandez is another one. Yep.
Oh, we don't claim these
Last
motherfuckers.
but not least, the finishing move.
Okay, and we also have the finishing move segment. And if you guys would like to sponsor it, hit us up, League of Our Own. What the hell is we talking about for this the finishing move? Oh, Gunther, WWE Intercontinental Champion Gunther cannot leave the U.S. for 6 months. Now, I'm just going to make this quick before we wrap this shit up. But Gunther is an incredible wrestler, and he has the longest reign of having the WWE Intercontinental Championship. So he's actually fucking, killing it, right? But this news came out on Yahoo that he can't leave due to residency regulations. Understandable, because he's originally from Austria, so he has to stay confined within the U.S. But I just find it so ironic because intercontinental means you travel within different continents, and Gunther can't leave the damn country. Isn't that ironic?
Well, but he lives here in America.
Yeah, but you have the intercontinental belt, and you can't travel countries. That is so ironic to me.
But they didn't say, it says residency problems. They hadn't said what it is, though.
Residency regulations.
Yeah, so I don't know what it is.
So, but it's nothing bad. It's just a matter of, like, he has to stay in the U.S. So, but I just find it very ironic that somebody who holds the Intercontinental Championship belt can't leave the country. That's all I have to say about that.
Interesting.
Oh, and speaking of Von Erich, I'm going to be at Booker T's wrestling show, Reality of Wrestling, this Saturday in Houston, and Sunday I'm going to be at River City Wrestling. The Von Erichs, Robert Jameson, interesting you mentioned them. The Von Erich family, the legendary family, will be there. The Von Erich sons, or the Von Erich hierarchy, they're going to be wrestling that day, so it's gonna be really fun. So I encourage you guys to come out.
Have you read about them yet?
I seen some shit.
You need to dig in. Especially if you like tragic stories and all that shit.
Yeah.
Just read.
I did talk to one of the only remaining Von Erich a couple months ago when I went to the bowling alley at Main Event in San Antonio. The final Von Erich, I didn't want to talk about wrestling with him, but we had a really good conversation for about 30 minutes about Maui and the Maui fires. He was really passionate about that, and he was just a really nice guy. So I don't want to bring up wrestling or the tragedies or anything. I just want to talk to him like he's a normal human being, but he was a very nice guy. So shout out to the only
family has tragedy around wrestling.
Yeah, I've heard.
And dying in the ring and stuff.
Have you seen Dark Side of the Ring?
No.
It's on. It's supposed to be like a series on I think it's a series on TV about all these tragic stories. So I think the Von Erichs is one of those stories. So I'm going to go look that up because I've been wanting to see what happened to them. It's very tragic. I don't like watching tragic stories too much. Even though I just.
You said you don't lie.
Yeah. Oh,
it's
on Vice. I mean, I like true crime, but dang.
That's tragic.
Yeah.
You just talked about somebody putting weights and semen on somebody and killing them, and you're like, well, I don't like dark stuff.
If y'all like true crime, let me know. Kevin, it was Kevin Von Erich. That's what they told me. But yeah, they said it's on Vice. So if you guys haven't seen that, check that out. I hope you guys come out. And next week, Jaden is making his premiere.
Maybe.
Jaden is making his premiere on League of Our Own podcast. We've been having Jaden around for like a year now, so we're excited to have him on. I think you guys will really love Jaden.
All right, tell the people goodbye.
Okay, goodbye, guys. Thank you so much. And also make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. I started promoting it. We're at 187 and now we're at 403. So we're trying to get to 1,000. If you guys haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, it's League of Our Own Carolina Teague. Subscribe to that and be up to date with more stuff that we have coming up. And I really appreciate you guys each and every single week for tuning in. And yeah, if you guys have any topics y'all want us to talk about, let us know. And we'll get with you guys soon. I'll see you guys next week. Jaden makes his premiere. Bye, guys. Love y'all.
Maybe.